So we are going now. I think we got it boosted up here. Oh, got good old Brad on here.
Yeah.
First time for like a one-on-one conversation
Yeah.
outside of like Facebook. You know, I try to. I'm gonna have Austin on too. He's another guy that I've never really had a one-on-one with him like this either.
Maybe we can get a three-way going.
Well, he couldn't do it tonight. I asked him, but he said he had stuff to do. So we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get him on here. Also, I'm gonna try. I know I don't have very much hope, but I'm gonna try to get ET on here.
Uh,
That how that's gonna work out because he's probably gonna be afraid to do it. But ET, if you listen to this, you're more than welcome to come on here.
yeah.
We'd love to have you on here, and we don't have to talk about politics if you don't want to. Whatever you want to talk about, ET, if you're listening.
We can talk about the Packers.
That's right. I
I
hate the Packers. As a Cowboy fan.
don't hate the Cowboys. I hate Daniel.
Oh yeah.
He talks so much shit and
He's a Cowboy fan, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, see, there's a lot of unrealistic Cowboy fans out there. I realize that. That's why everybody hates the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because, the people that say we're going to the Super Bowl every year, those are the ones everybody hates. I'm not,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm not like that though. Like I'm a realistic fan for the most part.
I've always kind of equated the Cowboys. Well, I guess you would say Notre Dame is kind of the Dallas of college football. Like, not so much the past few years, but I remember growing up every year. Oh, they're going to the national championship. They're going to the national championship, and
I could
never
see
works
that
out.
because Notre Dame used to dominate football,
Yep.
just like the Cowboys did back in the '90s, and so I get that comparison. What did you think about that picture I shared earlier about the winning percentages? You said you was surprised by it.
Yeah, just like the okay, like the Buccaneers. I know that they haven't won a lot and like they went winless in their first season, but I didn't expect them to be dead last. And the
Right.
Falcons was like third from the bottom.
Yeah, I mean,
Strange.
the Bucks have a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But then you got like the Falcons. I could see that because they've only went to that one Super Bowl, and they lost it. But yeah, the Bucks kind of surprised me a little bit. The Cowboys surprised me being first. I figured it would be like Green Bay or New England or the Steelers or something.
And that the Steelers, they were like kind of middle of the pack. I figured they would be like
Yeah, up there.
third or something.
See, I just pulled it up, so I'm looking at it. Let's see where the Steelers are like middle of the pack at 529 in yellow here. I'm just gonna read it off that way everybody knows what I'm talking about. The Cowboys are the highest all-time team win percentage at 5.73. Then it's the Bears at 5.64, Packers at 5.64, the Patriots at 5.61, Miami at 5.56, Minnesota at 5.46, Baltimore, the Giants, the Broncos, the 49ers, the Colts, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Seahawks, the Redskins, the Chargers, the Rams, and then these are all the teams below 500. The Panthers, the Eagles, the Browns, the Titans, the Bills, the Lions, the Bengals, the Saints, the Jets, the Texans, the Jaguars, the Falcons, the Cardinals, and then the Bucks. the Bucks are the Bucks aren't even close to the Cardinals.
Yeah, like 300.
Yeah, they're like 385, and the Cardinals are at 426. So yeah, I did not know that they were that bad overall. Kind of surprised me a little bit too.
And you would think some of these teams that's been a franchise longer would maybe be kind of lower just because they've played so many more games than a lot.
That's true. Well, the Cowboys came out in 1960, which I want to think the Packers and Bears have been out longer than that, I think.
20s.
Yeah. So I think it's like I'm not positive what I told you earlier. I'm not positive, but I think it's from the day they announced to be a franchise. Like Baltimore, I don't think they were a franchise until the 90s. Like I
Yeah.
don't I mean, they were the Baltimore Colts, but the Ravens weren't a thing until like the 90s. Kind of like,
96, I think.
yeah. And the Tennessee Titans used to be the Houston Oilers. There was no Titans. And then I think that was also the 90s. They had like Warren Moon for the Houston Oilers and all that. And then they switched everything and made the Texans and then made the
Yeah.
Titans. So that makes sense. I guess that's what it's going based off of. The Browns are higher than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, I guess we're like you said when they first announced to be a franchise,
Yeah.
like with there's like the what they didn't have a team for 3 years or something like that. I guess they got the wins before they come back too. The Ravens didn't get that where they were the Browns, and it's confusing.
Yeah. Back and forth. It's like the St. Louis Rams and now the LA Rams. It's all going back and forth. I don't know. It's wild, man. Do you think that obviously the Browns actually won more than one game this year, so maybe
Yeah.
with Baker, maybe they have a chance to make the playoffs in a couple of years. You think so?
uh, it's maybe it just seems like whenever something gets going, that something happens. They can't pull it off.
That's true. That's very true. I'm not giving them much credit. I'm just saying I think they could get a wild card or
Yeah.
something. They
Yeah.
might lose the first game, but to go from 0 wins to the playoffs, that's a hell of a thing if you can do it in that little of a time frame.
Actually, though, now that I think about it, the Steelers have had a lot of problems here lately. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson as quarterback. And, we don't know how that's going to play out. And then the Bengals, and maybe they will.
Yeah, I mean the Ravens. We seen how that played out. Did you watch that Charger game this in the postseason? The
Yeah.
Chargers. Oh my God, they figured them out, and all they
Yeah.
were like the triple option offense. I mean, you can't run that in the NFL.
You really can't. That's why Colin Kaepernick isn't in the NFL, in my opinion. It's not sustainable for a long
Right.
period of time. That made him. I mean, the game against the Packers is maybe his first or second playoff game. He torched us, and then we
Yeah.
played him the next year, and he couldn't. He threw the ball pretty good, but they did not run the read option very much.
Yeah, like it seems like when RG3 was a rookie, everybody started running the read option because it worked. And that's how stuff is. Like it's like nobody was running the read option. So when RG3 came in and they started reading the read option, it took like a year of film to kind of break down and think, okay, how do we need to stop this? And then by the next year, nobody's using the read option because it doesn't work. That's what I think happened with Lamar Jackson is because he only played 8 games or 10 or 11 games, something like that. And so nobody has film on him. But starting next year, that's not going to work at all. Like,
No.
if that's their offense, I would be surprised if they won more than like 6 games.
Yeah, they're so athletic on the edge now, like Khalil Mack and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
They're as fast as you are, and they're
right.
260 pounds.
Or like a Von Miller out there. And, it's harder once you got film on somebody and you know their tendencies and know exactly where they run and know what like gaps to fill. But, I can't say much because my Cowboys let me down in the playoffs this year, and
Yeah,
we could not stop the run to save our lives.
surprising actually. They played pretty well most of the season.
Well, I got to listening because I listen to a lot of sports radio too, and apparently the Rams offensive line had our defensive signals. So 90% of the play calls, they knew exactly what gaps the D line was going to be pressing. They knew exactly what holes were going to be open. So I think that's a part of why they had so much. I mean, yeah, they probably still would have ran, but 273 yards
Yeah,
rushing, that makes more sense because nobody ran on us like that all year long. So when I found out that they had our signals and stuff, it made a lot more sense to me.
yeah, and that's huge in football. Football is a game of chess. If you know what they're going to do, there's no hope.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, the more you know, the better you are. That's the whole thing. That's why Belichick was taping the other team's
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, well, if
Exactly.
I can figure out the plays, I'll know exactly what to call.
Right. It's like NBA. You might know they're going to do an ISO with LeBron James, but that doesn't mean you're going to stop him.
Yeah, that's true. Basketball is a lot harder because you can't really play defense anymore.
Yeah,
They call everything for a foul and everything. Harden, like James Harden, he gets a foul call all the time. Even if he doesn't deserve it, he gets it.
yeah. The other day, I seen a video of Dennis Rodman, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was a pretty hard foul on him actually, and he like even swung at the guy and everything, and he got a flagrant. Now you would be kicked out and probably
Yeah.
suspended.
Oh yeah. It's like that. What was that? That Rondo Chris Paul fight at the beginning. You
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah,
Yeah, where he supposedly Rondo spit on Chris Paul.
yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. They all got suspended for a couple games or something. The Lakers, man, I don't think the Lakers are gonna do so well this year.
No,
It's just my opinion. I don't think they're going deep in the playoffs.
no. I don't. I don't know if they're going to even make the playoffs. Honestly.
Or I wouldn't be surprised if they got the eighth seed and then had to play the Warriors in the very first round and then got swept
Yeah,
by Golden State. That's what I'm predicting. It's either gonna be something like that, or they might win a round or something, maybe. I don't trust them though.
no. The if everything is true, what people say, man, LeBron, if that's really how he acts, like just wanting all those guys gone, and Anthony Davis in the middle of the season, man, you
That's what
can't
I'm.
wait.
Uh, but imagine being his teammate.
I
And
couldn't.
that's what I called him. I made a post one day and said LeBron the team wrecker.
Yeah.
He's like basically saying he's going to give his whole team over for Anthony Davis, and then it doesn't happen. You're stuck
Yep.
playing with guys that know you wanted them gone. I mean, I would be pissed off.
Yeah. Like I don't know why they. I'm not an expert, but just Alonzo Ball in general, when they drafted him, it was like I would almost have any other person drafted in the top 10 as him.
Well,
At the time.
he was better than Markel Fultz though.
Yeah, definitely.
Fultz, they done got rid of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
He,
mean, I would have took Tatum number
yeah.
one. I would have took if you could redo it.
I'll give Lonzo one thing. He's exceeded my expectations. I honestly didn't think he was going to be able to play in the NBA at all, but
Well,
it's okay.
his dad finally came out and said if he got traded, he wanted him to go to Phoenix because he didn't like cold weather or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't hear from LeVar. Like I never heard LeVar say anything from the time LeBron got there until they said we're thinking about trading Lonzo. As soon as
Right.
they said that, boom, there he was.
But I
Just
remember he said that he's like LeBron's going to come play with my son. That's like, and then he did.
That's true. But the thing is, he says Lonzo's better than LeBron, and he says
Yeah.
that Lonzo that they wouldn't win a championship without Lonzo. That's what LeBron says.
Yeah. If they had other pieces,
Yeah.
I would rather have Rondo. Really,
Right.
he could pass. Which
Yeah, and
is
he's
so
kind
could
of a
ball.
he used to be a good defender. I'm not so positive. I don't watch a whole lot, but he used to be, and he's got that playoff experience where
Yeah.
he played, and so that's why LeBron recruited him. It's like, yeah, we have Lonzo. He's a number two pick, but LeBron comes there and he's like, nah, I want Rondo. It's like, let's sign Rondo to a 1 year deal.
Now he's posting pictures of Ben Simmons, and I'm a little scared that it's going to lure him away. So I'm
Yeah,
not.
big into Simmons. He likes Simmons.
Yeah, I'm even as a Sixers fan, I'm not a huge Simmons fan. I mean, he's a good player, and I definitely want him to stay. But
He has no
don't
jump
go.
shot.
He has no jump shot at all.
Anything past 8 feet, it's like
Yeah,
nothing. He's got to be right there.
I don't
But I
know.
mean,
I mean, I really feel like he would play better in the post. Once again, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I just
yeah,
he's like 6'10". I'm pretty sure. I mean, he really is not a bad point guard, but like you said, he can't shoot anything past 8 feet. It, I feel like he could be pretty dominant in the post, but
he
that's why I'm
could.
not
I
coaching.
guess they don't have a better. I guess the only reason is they don't have a better ball handler than him right
Right,
now. If they had like a Kyrie or a Kemba Walker or somebody could handle the ball just as good and shoot from the perimeter, then they probably would move him down to like the four. But that's it. He's just the best ball handler on the team, so
right.
to let him, do it. Kind of like LeBron. He's a forward, but he carries the ball down the court basically every time he's on the court.
Yep. Could you imagine Anthony Davis, Ben Simmons in the post with anybody at point guard at LeBron James? That would be a pretty dominant force.
Would I don't know. It would depend on who you had at the point because the three is dominant now.
Right.
You have 3-point shooting, or you're not going to beat Golden State because
Yeah,
they have
definitely.
like, Steph and Clay, and it's like the three best shooters that I can think of in the last 20 years. So you have to have 3-point shooting in order to outscore a Golden State. They're just gonna you're gonna be getting twos pretty easy, but they're gonna be getting threes.
That's right.
So it's a mathematical game. Unless they just all have a bad night, that's the only way. I was more interested in like the if he were to get like AD and then get like Bradley Beal or Clay or like a spot up shooter that could shoot from three, that would be good. They're talking about Kyrie even going to LA. I don't think it's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
No.
I don't think it's gonna happen. But a lot of people were, they're speculating on Kyrie going back to join LeBron.
Maybe Chris Paul. Who knows? At this point, never. There's so many things that happen over
Mm-hmm.
in the NBA over the past 10 years. It's totally unexpected. He
Free
already
agent,
tried to go there.
yeah, free agency in the NBA is wild because you never know where anybody's gonna go. Kevin Durant got mad because they was asking him about that.
Yeah.
Y'all quit asking me about free agency. It's like, well, do you blame us? You kind of like
Mhm.
surprised everybody and joined the best team in the league. You
Right.
know, kind of make we're trying to see if you're going to leave. That way we have something else to watch in the finals.
And then he signs 1 year deals. That.
I mean, I get it because he's got the leverage. He makes sure that he gets a choice every single year. But you know, it kind of ruined the basketball world
It
whenever he
really
did that
did.
because it was 4 straight years of Golden State Cavs in the finals. And after 4 years, you're tired of seeing the same two teams.
Yep.
I mean, imagine if it was like the Patriots and I don't know, let's say the Rams for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
People are already tired of the Patriots.
Right. One team. Yeah.
So if it was two teams there every year, you would be like, gosh, what's the point in watching the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I've seen this 3 times before. You know, that was the worst Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
most
definitely.
Super Bowl I've watched.
Yeah, I
Three
would
point.
rather watch Giants Patriots any day of the week. As that game.
Dude, I mean, how do you have the second highest scoring offense in the league and you score 3 points?
I don't know.
And Todd Gurley gets like 10 touches the whole game. He did nothing in the postseason.
Yeah,
Gurley did nothing. I mean, that for me, that cancels him out of being the best running back in the
right.
league. Because I mean, you touched the ball 10 times in the Super Bowl and you had like nothing basically to show for it. Or the whole postseason, he didn't really do anything. The only time he did anything was against the Cowboys
Right.
when they had the signals. And still, C.J. Anderson, he
Yeah.
Gurley.
Yeah, I was
Go ahead.
trying to think. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, Gurley has the touchdowns. He had like 17 touchdowns or 18 rushing touchdowns. But what good is it if you don't score a touchdown in the whole postseason?
Right.
You're supposed
I
to be
mean,
the best in the league, and you just like a no-show.
oh yeah, like I've heard people saying like, "Oh, he was hurt," but I can't remember exactly. I was listening to somebody, and like he had already been to the doctor before the postseason and cleared, and then during the postseason, he pretty much he wasn't hurt.
No, I don't believe that. Because McVay said he wasn't hurt, like right before the Super Bowl. He's like, we're all healthy. Gurley's good to go. Blah blah blah. So that makes me. Somebody made the point. You know how Belichick got heat last Super Bowl where he benched Malcolm Butler and didn't play him.
Yeah,
Everybody gave him hell. And they're like, how can you not play your best player? Blah, blah, blah. Well, McVay comes out and he says Gurley's healthy. And then he only gives him the ball 10 times. And nobody says a word.
right.
How, how is that? Like, I mean, after Malcolm Butler did not do good this year. Like in Tennessee, he just fell off a map. It's like Belichick knew it was coming or something.
Yeah, yeah,
But you just don't give Gurley the ball and nobody says anything. Like, how do you get away with that?
yeah.
Like,
There's something like just certain people they know like talent like Belichick. Pretty much anybody he lets go, with what besides maybe Wes Welker, that Chandler Jones. I think he's played pretty good today. They're not very good once they leave New England.
I mean, he's usually pretty good about it. I think you're going to let Gronk go, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably. I
He's
would.
beat. He's beaten up and worn down. I think he wanted to let him go last year, but he kept him anyway. Probably because Tom wanted him.
According to Gronkowski, he says he will not play for another quarterback.
Yeah, he probably won't. He'll probably retire if he gets cut. But I think it's coming. I mean, he's beat up, man. He's so
Yeah.
injured. He's been injured so many times. He doesn't even play a full season.
Yeah. Unless he takes a very large pay cut, I would imagine.
I don't see him doing it though.
No.
And for like $1 million, when he's going to get injured and all this. They've talked about him signing with the WWE.
Right.
He'd probably make more money with the WWE.
Probably. He'd probably be pretty good, honestly.
He's been on there. He's been on there a couple times just as like a guest. I don't watch it, but I've seen clips and stuff where he goes on there and he has like the Gronk spike. I don't know if you remember like Umaga or anything.
Yeah.
He just takes his thumb and jabs it into their throat like right here, and that's his finisher. That's like his calls it the Gronk spike. So I checked out your video you sent me the other day on the Jimmy Dore show.
Mhm.
Very wise. That was
Yeah.
pretty. Cool. So I tried to watch that. I watched maybe 5 minutes of that podcast on Joe Rogan's podcast, and yeah, I heard her say that line about, well, they were talking about that kid that was smirking at the Indian banging the drum in his face. He's like, well, a lot of people think that the MAGA hat is the same as the white hood these days. And I was like, yeah, I'm not, I can't listen to 2 hours of that. And
Right.
Joe was like, I don't think so. Like, you're going
Yeah.
on that. And that Jimmy Dore clip just broke down stuff I didn't even watch because I couldn't go through it. But yeah, dude, she was totally classic reporter,
Yeah.
classic media personality that just spouts shit out and doesn't know what the hell she's talking about.
So I'm pretty sure. pretty positive.
Yeah, that one girl on the Jimmy Dore show, she's like, I, I'm here to promote my book, pretty sure.
Right.
Because they're always talking about their book when they have a book on there. That's all she say was, I'm pretty sure that's right. Would you look that up? You look that up for me? She's like, at one point, she's like, I'll have to come back on when I know more.
Right.
What the hell, lady?
But when Joe Rogan is pretty much calling you out, that's pretty bad because he just kind of goes with the flow. If
Yeah.
he's that's pretty bad.
That's the only thing I really don't like about Joe is he's always agreeing with whoever he has on.
Unless it's
It's like,
about pot.
yeah. I mean, he has like some solid beliefs that he will not budge on. And then he has like anything political other than like that. He's like back and forth a little
Yeah.
bit. If he has a liberal on, he's like left wing. If he's has a conservative on, he's like, yeah, what about this? He's talking about right wing stuff. So that's the only thing I don't really care for about Joe. But I like his show overall.
Yeah. Seems like a pretty cool guy.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of what I want to do with this thing. That's where I'm getting it off of because I watch his show a lot. That's kind of what I want to do, where I'm going to have like, I'll have just different people on and we'll talk about different, we'll just shoot shit like we are right now, just going back and forth, talking about stuff we find interesting.
But yeah, I just got an iPhone like a couple weeks ago, and I always listen to his show. But then I got on the actual podcast app, and he's the #1 podcast. I had no idea. He has been for years, evidently. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I knew
he's
it
got,
was popular, but not like that.
I don't like quote me on this, but I think he has like 10 million viewers a week or something. Yeah, so he outdoes all of cable news
Right.
just on that podcast. He's pretty popular, man. I think I've been listening to him for a year now. I like I have a few favorite ones. I like the Gavin McInnes ones.
Yeah.
Those are funny.
Yeah.
Gavin McInnes is like he's got a strong personality, He's got some crazy beliefs too, but he's right about a lot of shit.
You're right.
So it makes it so entertaining is because he's not just making shit up,
Right.
He's actually right about a lot of shit.
I
And
used to get this ad on YouTube all the time with him. And you've probably seen it too, I would imagine. He's talking about Hillary Clinton, how he does not have information on her or something like that. It's funny. So he doesn't get killed.
yeah, I was just watching him last night. There's all kinds of clips on YouTube where he's going back and forth with feminists and like pretty much destroying feminists. It's just pretty entertaining to watch. Another one I like that he has on there is like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
We'll talk about like space and shit and the planets, the galaxy and all that. I find that stuff interesting. And like Elon Musk, I'm sure you've watched that one.
Yeah.
It's the most awkward conversation, but so interesting that you stayed to
Right.
listen. It's like, this is kind of boring, but I want to know more. Talking about AI and shit like that.
He's supposed to be having Kanye West on.
I heard him say that, but I haven't seen the episode on there.
I don't think they've done it yet. He keeps teasing it.
Yeah, I think it was something with Kanye not showing up or backing out on him or something. But the whole Sam Harris on there, he's a good one. He talks about alternative or artificial intelligence. That's some crazy stuff, man.
It
Listening to
is.
like Elon and Sam Harris talk about artificial intelligence and stuff, like how computers are basically gonna eliminate the job market in the next 50 years. There will virtually be nothing but coders and engineers and programmers and stuff. That's what I don't like. A lot of people don't see this coming. You know, like if you tell people this, if you're like, hey, in 10 years, half the jobs are going to be run by computers, they're like, get out of here. They just don't
Right.
want to. And they're like,
Yeah.
no,
I
it's
have an
okay.
example of that actually where I work. Like, we make fiber, and it comes off of this big machine and it rolls it up onto a roll, and they got these knives that cut it as it's rolling. It comes
Yeah,
off, you sling the rolls down the line, and it has a robot, picks it up, puts it in a stack, and wraps it. Well, they used to do all that by hand. And that's the past few years they got that robot, and there's like 3 people that can run it now. Used to, you'd have to have like 5 or 6 standing there.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. And it's so crazy because this is obviously happening right before our very eyes, and the people that'll be working there will be like, no, it ain't coming.
Right.
It's like you're standing outside this machine,
Yeah.
the work of 20 people. You don't
Yep.
think it's going to go any farther than that? It's just kind of naive to think that.
They already have this machine that runs across the top of it, and like it has like a laser in it, and it can tell how thick the fiber is to make sure it's to the thickness that they want. Pretty
Yeah.
soon they'll have something that can identify the defects in it, even maybe, and then that eliminates the person watching it. Kind of, so on and
So
so
get
forth.
more advanced. Um, did you see the podcast Joe Rogan did with Andrew Yang? He's a presidential candidate.
I watched a couple clips of it. I haven't watched the whole thing.
I actually watched the whole thing, and I was very skeptical going into the thing because he's for a universal basic income. So when you hear that, you're thinking, okay, he's a socialist. But actually go and listen to the podcast and listen to this guy. He's not really a Democrat. He's an independent that's running as a Democrat. That way he gets the media coverage and gets on TV and he gets to debate and all that. Um, but it's not like what you would think where he wants like control. He doesn't want like Medicaid for all. He might be for that, but he didn't talk about that. But he's not like pushing free education, free healthcare, free everything, government programs running everything. He's just pushing. He knows about the AI, right, that we were just talking about and how the jobs are going to be put out. So he's suggesting like $1,000 a month for everybody. And the exception would be like if you get food stamps or you get HUD, whatever you're getting, you would either lose all of it and get the $1,000, or you would subtract $1,000 from subtract whatever you're getting from the $1,000. So if you got $500 in housing from the government and you got $300 in food stamps from the government, you would basically get $200 instead of 1,000. That's how he's saying it. He's saying that it would eliminate food stamps. Basically, it would eliminate all the bureaucratic BS in between. It would just be like, we send you a check, you do whatever. And his whole reason was the whole AI taking over jobs and shit. Like truck drivers, fast food workers, call center employees, and stuff like that. But a lot of people are skeptical about it just because they hear free money.
Right.
You know, I was skeptical going into it, but I mean, I'm not saying I would vote for the guy because I don't know his
Right.
views on everything. But he made some pretty good points, and he's ahead of his time. Like it
Yeah.
was
Right.
People are just going to hear this and be like, no, like I was telling you, they ain't going to replace our jobs. We're good. And
Yeah.
and they're like, oh shit, we're unemployed. We have no money. That's
Yeah,
it.
he's not like full on 70% income tax.
Yeah,
Eliminate all cow farts.
right. Yeah, that's extreme, man. Oh god, Green Deal. That is the biggest like scam that I've ever heard of.
Hold on a second. I got to get a cigarette for that one.
Hey, good. Hey, I do too. So I'm gonna pause it for a second, okay?
All right. All right.
All right. So we're getting into the Green New Deal here. I don't even know where to start with this thing, man. It's so
Yeah.
insane and so crazy. The fact of farting cows being in a legislative bill and talking about how we don't know how we're going to eliminate the farting cows yet, but they're emitting carbon and it's a problem. Not to mention, the whole eliminating air travel, uh, eliminating gasoline powered vehicles. You're basically destroying jobs in like a snap of a finger.
Yeah. Her entire economy is based on oil, basically. You know.
And natural gas and all that. Now, say I'm for, like I was saying, um, I'm for like clean energy, but you can't like ban everything. You can't just
Right.
say you're gonna have solar panels and you're gonna have windmills or you're going to jail. You can't do that. You can't say we're gonna ban coal. We're gonna ban oil.
That's one thing that I've never understood. Like you said, I agree. Definitely, if possible, you know, green energy, yeah. But like coal mining, I mean, yeah, you're digging into the side of a mountain or whatever. But all my life, I don't ever remember any body of water around here having a fish kill or
Right.
anything like that. And up in Northern Virginia, the Shenandoah River, they have a fish kill about once every 5 years because of they have a bunch of chicken plants and turkey plants, and all the runoff from those plants kills the fish from the shit and piss from the
Yeah.
animals and cows and stuff. And I know like the McClure River, Pound River, they, way back in the day, but that wasn't because of coal, it was because of sewer. I've never it I don't see how it's that bad for the environment other than burning it, obviously, but a lot of them have a problem with even mining it in general. And when like Obama put in all these regulations, like it's almost as if he was punishing people from the coal fields, because it's like you're just going to take these jobs away and put nothing back into it. What are people supposed to do? I get,
Exactly.
food stamps and whatever, but that's not enough to live.
He basically said he was going to bankrupt the coal companies, just like Hillary did. Hillary got in trouble for it to the point where she couldn't even have a rally in West Virginia.
Right.
If you see that video, she's just in a room with like 8 people, and like 2 or 3 miners are like, "We don't like you here." You know,
Yeah.
said we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business. They're like, so we're not included in your big plan for the country, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. She just
Pretty
kind of
much.
sat there, kind of shaking her head. Then she even lied. She's like, I did not say that. When it's on video,
Yeah, I
look,
know.
it's like we have the internet now.
Yeah.
That used to work
Yeah.
back in the 80s and shit when there was no internet. And, you just, if you didn't hear it live, oh well, you just have to take their word for it. It's not like that anymore. That's a good thing, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's got to be a slow transition, like start putting some windmills on top of these mountains and some solar panels and stuff. Slowly, start doing stuff like that. You can't just wipe it all out at one time.
They're talking about this Green Deal. They're going to being bold, saying that they're going to tear down all buildings that are not solar powered or wind powered and rebuild them. So you're talking about businesses, people's houses would have to be like redone. Think about the cost of that. They're like, your plan's going to cost like 30 to 40 trillion dollars. How you plan on paying for it? And all you get is the cost doesn't matter. It's like, don't
We're going
ask.
to pay for it with morals.
Right. It's like, we're going to tax the rich. Okay, well, the rich don't have that much money. It's like you realize you could bankrupt the rich and you would still not have the money to do what you're asking to do. That's the thing. They think that the rich have, they think that like Bill Gates is just sitting on 50 trillion.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of money, but he ain't got
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you
He has
know.
employees and whatnot. In reality, it's all a push towards globalization,
Yeah,
really.
it is. That's when I hear people say, well, you know, other countries think we're a joke because Trump is the president. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Like what other countries think.
Yeah.
It's not like they're pushing us around, at least like with Obama, and we had that they had no respect for us. They might be like, oh, hey, yeah, Obama, you're nice. But they're just going to push you around. Iran got like $150 billion out of Obama just in cash. He's like, here you go.
Wasn't it 450? Wasn't it more than that?
It was a lot. I'm probably underselling it.
I think you are, actually. That's sad.
Oh, right. 150 billion to like the largest state sponsor of terrorism. It's like, yeah, I guess we're nice. I guess they like us now.
I seen this the other day. I did not know this. I was watching Morgan Freeman's got some show on Netflix. It's like something about God, but like only the first episode's really about God. I don't know. But he had this guy on there. He basically inspects all the nuclear weapons in the world. And he had him point on a globe, like all the countries that we know have nuclear weapons. Pakistan has a nuke.
Yeah,
That is insane.
right.
I mean, uh, like
So,
they are almost like pro uh, Al Qaeda or Taliban, whichever one's closer to them in Afghanistan. Can't remember, but I mean, they're right at the doorstep.
yeah, I know it's crazy. Same thing with like North Korea.
Yeah,
This fat, chubby Korean guy that just has the power of a nuke, and he's the dictator. What he says goes. That's why they're trying to denuclearize, the Koreans, the North Koreans, and he's actually made like progress on that.
yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, we're going to go to war with North Korea. Trump's not going to do anything." There ain't nothing Trump can do. What does he think he's doing? And he actually goes over and talks to the guy, and he's like,
You're right.
"Hey, I might consider doing that." Like, why the hell did we do this before? Or if we did, it must have just been he didn't respect Obama. He's like, why would I listen to this guy?
Yeah, the same thing with Putin, though. I mean, I can't remember exactly, but it just even when they met, like I don't know, it didn't seem like they say Trump's not hard on Putin, but it seems like he's harder on everybody than anyone else has ever been. I don't know.
I mean, he's on as far as actions, he's was a lot tougher. He's been a lot tougher on Russia than Obama has been on Russia. That Obama was on Russia. He's maybe not with his words, but with what he actually does, he is. You know, it, and this whole collusion bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of hearing about it. Like I said, the only collusion was that Hillary's emails got leaked and everybody found out about it and the Russians leaked it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the collusion. It has nothing to do with Trump.
I've lost sound. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. It's like completely gone. If you can hear me, I can see you.
I was talking about the whole Russia thing where basically the whole collusion was Hillary's emails got leaked and she got exposed, and that was the whole collusion. And they were just so mad about it that they just blamed the Russians because because their emails got leaked. And everybody saw them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's the thing. Even if he did have something to do with it, I really don't care. I care about what was in the emails, and there was some pretty messed up stuff in those emails. And the way they act about it, first of all, WikiLeaks, to my knowledge, has never been wrong. Second of all, the way they act about it is guilty as hell.
Yeah. It's like, but the thing is that like the FBI and Mueller, all that, they don't even care about that. It's like
Yeah,
they don't even care about the emails or what was in them. And, and like when they go out here and they arrest people like Roger Stone and all these people for lying to Congress. Well, Hillary lied to Congress more than once.
yeah,
She was never indicted. Why is she not indicted, but people like Roger Stone are indicted?
yeah.
You know, that's what I don't get. If the law or Eric Holder when he
Hmm.
lied about Fast and Furious, it's like if you're going to arrest people for lying to Congress, you have to arrest all of them.
Yeah. It's like that. I can't remember his name now. The general that they're going after, like he just misremembered a date or
Oh,
something like
Flynn,
that.
is that who you're
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah,
Yeah, General Flynn. They got him for that. It's like it's a one way. It's a double standard with just about everything now.
yeah. It's like they just been in politics for so long. They got more pull, I guess, because a lot of these people, like Comey, he says he's a conservative, or that's what they say. But I mean,
Can't tell.
yeah,
He must be like a Bush conservative.
yeah, right.
He's one of the old war hawk conservatives that like war. That's what trips me out when we see. I won't say names, but when you see like the liberals talking about how great Bush was,
Yeah,
like all of a sudden it's
yeah,
like, second, you were totally against Bush when he was the president. Now you love Bush
yeah,
because Trump's president. It's like if there was ever a reason to impeach a guy, it would be starting a fake war
yeah,
that that lasted 20 years in the Middle East, in my opinion. And they lied about the reason. They said Saddam had WMDs, and then they get there and he has no WMDs, and he's killing Al Qaeda. And then you kill him, and Al Qaeda takes over. And it's like, we love Bush.
yeah.
I don't
Trump's
get
pulling
that.
troops out, but
Yeah,
we want to
crazy.
stay.
Yeah, it's like you're anti-war, anti-war. Trump gets elected. Trump wants to be anti-war, so now you're pro-war. It's everything that the guy says. You have to be the opposite. It seems like.
Yeah, I would like
Like
for him just one day as a joke come out and say, "Okay, I think we're going to give this socialized healthcare thing a try." It won't work. It won't work.
they would oppose it then.
Yeah. Like no, just that's going to be too much burden on the taxpayer. I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, like the whole wall thing. Now all of a sudden they care about how much the wall costs.
You're right.
It's like, yeah, we want 30 to 40 trillion dollars for our Green New Deal, but we're not going to give you your 5 billion for this wall. It's like the cost. That's all they talk about. It's like
Yeah.
it's a waste of money. I'm like, what could be a bigger waste of money than killing cows and
Yeah.
part airplanes.
Or anything they've done the past 20 or 30 years.
It's ridiculous, man. I don't get it. I don't get how people can be so stupid. I mean, just so naive. I wouldn't even call them stupid, but I'll call them naive to believe that socialism is a good thing and that
Yeah.
it's work and that it could work. It's like just look around, you know, look at history. It's never worked. Mostly people our age too. They believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. They, I don't know. Even, I remember even in school being taught, communism and socialism, pretty much. It's close. Like communism looks good on paper, but it never works. I really don't even think it looks that good on paper myself. But uh,
Yeah.
it's just you can't point to an example where that it has worked. They like to point towards the you know Norway and all that, but their capitalist economy with social programs, and they pay pretty high
Yeah.
taxes.
Right. And they also don't have as many people as we have.
Yeah,
They have like the population of Ohio.
yeah,
They have like 8 million people there. It's like you realize the problem with communism is when you say no matter what you do, we're going to pay you all the exact same. That's when doctors are like, why the hell should I be a doctor? I can go flip burgers and make the same. You know,
yeah,
why should I? Would you rather be doing heart surgery for $10 an hour, or would you be flipping burgers for $10 an hour?
yeah. 20 hours a week.
For hell, don't work at all,
Yeah,
and you get $10 an
I would.
hour.
Why would you?
Bro, nobody would.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. It would like nobody would work because why would you? You know, why would you want to be? And then everybody's poor because it's like, well, nobody's working, so we can't give you $10 an hour. We're gonna have to give you $2 an hour, and then it's gonna drop down to like we're gonna give you like $10 a day to live on. It just keeps going down and down and
Yeah.
down.
Well, you guys are just gonna have to work.
Somebody's gonna have to work to pay for this shit. Meanwhile, at the top, the politicians are like living fat and sassy, and they
Yep.
run everything. They have the power of your education. They control your health care. They control the law enforcement. They control the military. They control every aspect of your life. Everything you need. They do. They basically own your house. If communism, the state owns everything. That phone you have, the phone I have, they own it. They just allow you to use it, and they could come in and take it away and be like, "Oh, the state owns that for the house." Be like, "Well, we're gonna have to move you out, and put you in like an 8 by 8 room so we can fit everybody in here."
Yep.
I don't understand that. I think it's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally like the one thing worth fighting against that we fought against over, the past 50 years probably, and they want to do it here.
I know. It's like we're going backwards in time.
Yeah.
It's like if you guys could just see the Soviet Union, you would change your mind.
Yeah.
You know. But and I wasn't even alive during the Soviet Union, and I know it's
Yeah.
bullshit. Like neither one of us were, and we know it's bullshit because we have common sense. You look
Mm.
around, it's never worked. It's pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah, even you look in World War II. I mean, the Russians, they just sent people out, no weapons or nothing, starving, nothing to defend themselves. Yeah.
Sacrifice,
Yep.
basically, for the military. I mean, that's basically the whole reason why we nuked Japan. We had no reason to nuke Japan. It was basically just to like show the Soviets, like, hey, look what we got.
You're right.
That was the reason.
Don't get any bright ideas.
Especially the second bomb. It's like, okay, we dropped one. They saw that obviously, and if there was a threat in Japan, it was like neutralized. And then we was like, oh yeah, just for shits and giggles, watch this. Second. And they have not attacked us or had any problems with us since then, though.
Right. Yeah, that's and to make matters worse, you know what the plane is going to be named that we dropped the bomb with? Enola Gay.
I don't know, man. I just don't understand how people can, want to go back to the Soviet Union. They think it's great. They fly the hammer and sickle.
Yeah, yep.
Like these Antifa groups that are just communists with masks on. Go around like burning shit and vandalizing cars and flipping stuff over. I was watching videos the other day of like basically I won't even say Trump supporters. They are mostly Trump supporters and like just veterans and patriots. They just finally said we had enough of your shit, and they went out and just started fighting Antifa, like physically, like knocking them out cold. And like there's this one video. This guy, he has a bamboo stick, and he breaks a bamboo stick over this guy Antifa guy's head.
Oh my God.
You know how hard it is to break bamboo?
God.
He did. He snapped that bamboo stick in half over this guy's head. Which, it wasn't like the first hit. It was in the middle of shit. They're swinging stuff, throwing piss, throwing eggs, pepper spraying and shit. So, yeah, he just beat the shit out of him with a bamboo stick there.
God.
Some pretty entertaining videos. The Proud Boys. Just type in Proud Boys versus Antifa, and you'll pick all that shit up. Watch all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah, it's like, all this stuff, the Antifa, what you're doing. Try to do that in communist Russia and see what happens. They will mow you down without a second thought.
Yeah, they would put the military out there, and it'd be like a shooting range. You would just be mowed down. If you tried to do that to, like, say, the government, or you try to fight for your rights back, they would just be like, "No, too late.
Yeah.
We done took your guns now."
Yeah. We got the power, you ain't getting it back.
Exactly. That's why they want guns. That's the only thing stopping them from getting socialism is the guns. That's why it's such a big deal to everybody. They're like, we got to disarm them. They got to disarm them. Gun control. We need to take away all these weapons. These people shouldn't have these guns. Like, that's not a good idea. Haven't you seen everybody that's been disarmed has been like put in slavery? Like Cuba, Castro, Soviet Russia, the Chinese, all them people.
Yeah.
Hitler, they all took the guns and then they like enslaved the people, made them like poor and shit.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact statistic, but more often than not, when the country has their right to own weapons taken away, a mass genocide follows.
Yeah. Like Venezuela, that's a socialist country. And have you seen the news about Venezuela, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They have like 2 presidents right now.
Yeah.
And
blockading roads.
the socialist president is refusing to give up power.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you give him all this power. He's just not going to give it up. He's a dictator. So, now they're starving. Yeah, they're trying to send food to the people that live there, and he's blocking the damn crates, shipping crates, blocking the whole damn bridge from coming in.
Yeah, that's such a power trip. Like, you're going to stop people from getting fed.
Yeah, just because you don't want the people that's sending it to be helping the other guys.
Yeah.
Just let these bastards starve. It's like, my God, man. And this is what Bernie was always talking about, Venezuela being great.
Yeah.
And now you look at him and he's like, oh, we probably shouldn't do that. Well, no, he's still saying we should do it, but he has nothing to point at now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a lot quieter than he used to be, that's for sure. He doesn't.
They're talking about him possibly running again in 2020. I don't know if he will or not. He'll be like, 77? Good Lord, man.
I don't think if he does run, I don't think that's who they want.
No, they already showed that.
Yeah.
The DNC done rigged against him, so.
They don't want Elizabeth Warren either.
I don't get how she just the whole Pocahontas, the whole Indian thing. She finally came out and said, "I'm sorry. I'm not an Indian. I'm not a tribal citizen. I'm sorry." She just kept repeating that like
Yeah.
15 times, and it's like they shook it off like nothing ever happened. It's like you do realize that you guys always go around here screaming racist and sexist and blah blah blah, and then you have one of your own claiming to be an Indian and using it to get into law school,
Mm.
and you're quiet now. Like that's kind of hypocritical. You got like the same thing with Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia, in that KK. Okay, it's not just a blackface. It's like people seem to have forgotten that it was a white guy wearing blackface, imitating a black guy standing beside of a Klansman. They forget that for that reason. Like they just forget about the Klansman right there, and he's just saying, "Nah, I'm not going to resign over it. I'm just going to keep doing it." And they're like, well,
Well, okay.
yeah. Same thing with the lieutenant governor.
Yeah.
That's he's a black guy, Democrat also, who's facing sexual allegations. All I know is when Kavanaugh was getting appointed, they were like, "We gotta believe her. You gotta
Yeah.
believe the woman. You gotta believe the woman. It happened 30 years ago, but still, you gotta take her word for it." And now they're like, "Well, let's look into it.
Yeah.
Let's make sure." Which I
Pump
I
the
think
brakes.
I think you should always make sure, but it's not me that's out here saying, "Well, Kavanaugh's a rapist,"
Yeah.
with no evidence. That's what they did.
Yeah. But like what he said about abortion, that is so dark. It like it'll be born, it'll be kept comfortable, it'll be swaddled, it'll be kept comfortable, and then we'll make a decision.
Yeah, it's like the baby's alive, and laying there in the hospital, and you're having a conversation over whether or not you should murder it.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Hit it over the head with a club? Or like,
Will
I don't
inject it
understand.
or something? I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
They support it. It's like if you say that was a big topic on social media. Everybody was talking about, where New York passed that bill where you can have late term abortion. And then right after that was the whole Virginia thing where the governor said it. And he's actually talking about afterbirth abortion. And they're like, it's the woman's right, I'm like, you realize it's like 9 months old. It's a full baby that you're killing there. It's not just, a fetus anymore. No, I still, it's not just like a bundle of cells as they claim.
Yeah.
It's a full 9-month old baby that can survive on its own that you're talking about killing. They're like, yeah, we need to do that. But what bothers me about those people is when they try to tell you it's not a life yet.
Yeah.
When they try to say, well, it's not a life yet, so therefore it doesn't have any rights, so you can kill it and basically throw it in a wood chipper and it's perfectly fine. It's like, bacteria is life on
Yeah.
Mars, but a fetus on Earth isn't. Like, can't say that. If you're gonna be for it, just say you're for killing babies that are unborn. Just
Yeah.
say that. Don't sugarcoat it just so you
Yeah.
can live a bit easier.
Yeah. It's like in California, like they won't even let you clear brush from your land, but they're
Yeah,
okay with abortion.
it's weird. I
Yeah.
saw a meme. It's like the Drake meme with the hotline bling.
Hmm.
The top it says like deporting kids, and he's like no, and then it says aborting kids, and he's like yeah. It's like yeah, we'd rather abort kids than deport kids. It's like got it a little backwards, I think.
Yeah. I've seen this. I think it was Steven Crowder. He was like, he was talking about Ralph Northam. He's like, could you imagine being on a road trip with Ralph Northam as your father? Like, hey kids, if you don't quiet down, we're going to pull this car over and we're going to have a conversation about what to do.
Yeah. Oh, he has a video. I don't know if you've seen it. You should definitely watch it. Crowder does where he does these calls like a surveyor, and he's
Mm.
asked like black people which was more offensive, blackface or the KKK. He's like, which one is worse? and then it puts them on the spot, because and then most of them say blackface is less offensive than the Klan.
Really?
Yeah, and he's like, well, why is that? And he's like, well, the Klan has killed blah 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 people and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, that's just I found that curious that they thought one was less offensive than the other. I
Yeah.
thought they both bad.
Yeah.
Black people apparently find the Klan. That's why I think that's the reason he said he was the one in blackface originally instead of the Klan, because he probably had people telling him, hey, we did like research on this. You probably
Right.
should say blackface if you have to admit it. So you don't want to be like, hey, I'm the guy in the Klan hood.
Yeah.
And he admitted it. And then the next day he's like, oh, you know what? I thought about it. That's not me.
Mm.
Oh, he's like, I know yesterday I said that was me, but and then he even described it. He said that he took shoe polish and would like rub it on his face. He was like describing it. He said he dressed up as Michael Jackson. That was his excuse. He dressed up as Michael Jackson, and he just randomly decided to pose with this guy dressed as a Klansman and take a picture. And it describes how he did it and everything. And then the very next day, he's like, you know what? That's not me. I wasn't in that photo.
Right. And you see, even the thing is though, like, yeah, that's very offensive. But it's so much worse because the way I don't think that looks like Michael Jackson. First of all, second of all, that's like a very stereotypical black person in that picture. Like, let's say you wanted to actually dress up as Michael Jackson or Lil Wayne for Halloween or something like that.
Mhm.
Like that's so much not as bad as what he did. Like that is like the
Yeah.
old, like those old black dolls with like the
Yeah.
black face Gucci sweater thing like that. That's like a super stereotypical black with the big smile on his face and stuff. That looks pretty bad.
It wasn't even high school. It was in his college
Yeah,
yearbook. 25. So he was older than we are now. Or maybe you might be 25 now. I
I'm
just turned
25.
I just turned 24. So he was our age doing that. And the reason I know he's full of shit is because he didn't have the Michael Jackson wig at all.
Yeah,
He didn't have the outfit at all, and he was standing beside of a Klansman. It's
yeah,
like, just because you're Michael Jackson doesn't mean you're gonna pose with a Klansman. It's like, obviously he thought it was funny, or he wouldn't have done
yeah.
it.
Yeah, he had like plaid pants on or something like that. I don't remember Michael Jackson wearing plaid pants.
Wasn't dressed like Michael Jackson
No.
at all, and he
It's
didn't have
like,
the hair or anything.
yeah, it's like you trying to say all black people look alike.
But then it's just crazy how he can get away with it, and he's still in office. It's like nobody's even talking about it now. It's only been a week or two, and now like nobody's talking about it. The only thing people are talking about on the news is like this whole border situation and the whole national emergency and funding the government and blah blah blah. That's all they're talking about. It's like we just forgot about Wreckham Ralph. That's what I call him. Wreckham Ralph
Yeah.
wrecked his entire administration. It's weird though because he told Fairfax, the one under sex allegations, he told him he should resign, but he's not. He said, "I'm going to stay here because
Right.
Virginia needs a doctor to heal." Some slick line like that. He's like, "Virginia needs to heal, and who better to heal than a doctor?" And he's like, "Fairfax should resign, but I'm not going to resign." What the hell? It's like who? All of a sudden, blacks and women aren't important to the Democrats anymore.
Right.
We'll let it slide. You know,
Me too.
it's insane. I don't get it. I don't get how they can be so two-faced about it, especially when their whole party's based on that shit.
Yeah.
It's all they say. Everything's racist. Everything's sexist. Everything's, you know, there's a war on women. If you're a white male, fuck you. That's all they say all the damn time. And now you have this come out, and they're like, well, kind of, not look at that.
Yeah, you couldn't be more obvious about it's so blatantly obviously two-sided. Like you said, you have Kavanaugh, absolutely zero evidence that it even happened. Oh, we got a believer, and then this stuff happens. All of a sudden they're innocent until proven guilty. It's just, I don't understand how, like you said, I'm not going to say anybody's name. Just in general, like, you see all these things that, like, like you said, oh, this is racist, that is racist, and then you have Hillary Clinton calling black people super predators. It's like, okay, you don't care about that. Like, Trump, I've never heard that guy say anything racist, but he's a racist and Hillary Clinton's not. How is that possible? You have a governor in blackface, and it's just, they're hypocrites. Like, you could not be more hypocritical.
No, that's how it is, man. I don't get it. I don't get how you can base your whole party on this shit, and then when one of your own does it, it's like, ah, we're just not gonna look at that shit. It's like, yeah, gosh, you're like destroying yourself. And it's not because it's your own choice to call everything racist and sexist. It's not our choice. They're the ones that are deciding that everything is racist. They're the ones that are saying everything is sexist and all these women are automatically telling the truth, even if they have no proof. Like, it's not our idea. It's not like the right's idea. I'm not even on the right. But it's not normal people's idea that you have these beliefs. It's your own beliefs that you ignore whenever it doesn't suit you well.
Like Russian collusion, and then Hillary Clinton is doing uranium deals with Russia.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't want to talk about that. But, we're going to get called, we're going to be like the alt-right, according to them. We're going to be like the extremist. Anyone, basically, that they don't agree with is the alt-right now. And
Yep.
extreme right-wingers and domestic terrorists. That's why you have, like, Don Lemon on CNN. He said that that white people are the greatest terror threat to this country. And he's in a relationship. He's gay. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
He has a white boyfriend. It's like he says white people are the greatest terror threat to the country, yet he goes to bed with one every night.
Right.
Just, I don't get it, man.
That's got to be pretty creepy for him, living with a terrorist threat like that. Wow. I had no idea he was gay, actually.
I didn't either till the other day. I saw a picture of him and his white boyfriend holding hands walking down the street. He's into that. He had Morgan Freeman on his show once, and he was trying so hard to get Morgan Freeman to say that black people are, oppressed, and black people are at such a disadvantage. And Morgan Freeman's like, "No, we're not. Look," he said, "I'm like a living example that we're not.
Right.
Look how far I made it." He's like, "If you try hard enough and you work your ass off, you can get there." And Don Lemon's just like, "Fuck you." He thought he was gonna be like, "Yeah, poor black people, screw the whites, it's their fault," but he didn't. He's just like, "No."
Yeah. And that's somebody that actually lived in segregation times,
Yeah, he's aged. I don't even know how old he is. I know he's pretty old.
Yeah, it was that show I watched with him that he has on there that was talking about it. I can't remember how old that he said he was, but he was in school in the 50s. So he was probably in his 70s, I guess.
Let's look it up and see how old he is. 81.
Whoa.
1937 was when he was born. So he was during, like, right after the Great Depression.
Yeah. But Don Lemon, when he had that interview with LeBron James too, like, even he was doing that, and he got LeBron. He said, how did he put it? It's like Trump's pretty much dividing this country, and Don Lemon's like, pretty much, and he's like, well, yeah, he is. It's like he even knows subconsciously that is bullshit. Like, he didn't even. If you honestly thought that, you would have said he's dividing this country. You'd have been like, oh, he's kind of dividing the country. You would have said he's dividing the country.
Yeah, LeBron is one of those that just He's just as bad because he just plays along with it. It's like he's
Yeah.
fed ideas. I mean, I'm not. He has his own, you know, he has his own thoughts that one would say is racist. Because he's talked bad about, you know, Jews. I think it was. He said something about Jews and something. He had to apologize for it and this and that. But that's the thing. Like they say, black people can't be racist and all that. It's like, what? Do you even know what racism
Yeah.
means? Just look it up. Anyone can be racist.
Yeah. It's not blackism, it's racism.
Yeah. It's like, well, they don't have power. It's like, you don't have to have power to go down the street and shoot somebody just because they're white. You don't have to be the president. We had a black president. They seem to forget that. Um, you don't have to be the president in order to go down the street and kill a guy because he's white. Anyone can do that.
Right. It's almost like that people form their opinions on people solely on their actions.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Now it's like, let's just look at him. Okay, he's a guy. Check. He's white. Check. Okay, he doesn't mean anything. Like, his opinions don't matter. Um, and it's like a ladder. It's like a social ladder where if you're a transgender, like female, like if you're a transgender black female, you're at the top.
Yeah.
Anything you say is like gospel. And then on the main bottom is like white straight men. And there's a spectrum of how big of a victim are you and how much you should be believed, and it just goes down. Like even like the whole white privilege thing. Everything that they say about white privilege, they get better education, better housing, they make more money, blah blah blah. All that is more so for Asians.
Yeah.
They make more money, they're smarter, they get more education, they get everything that white men get except more and better. And it's like, they're all right. No.
Isn't it even like a lot of the Ivy League schools like Harvard, they'll only accept, so like they'll turn down better Asian applicants and bring in minorities.
With the affirmative action, yeah, they have
Hmm.
they, which is actually they're privileged because they don't have to work as hard and they automatically get in.
Yeah.
You or I couldn't get in on affirmative action. We'd actually have to be like, really smart to get into Harvard. But minorities can be like, well, I'm a minority. They're like, come on in.
Yeah.
So I don't get that. And the male privilege thing. I never understood that either. It's like, what do you mean by male privilege? We're more likely to die, more likely to commit suicide. Men are raped more than women. Most people don't know that when you include prison rape. More likely to be convicted, more likely to have to pay child support. All these things don't sound like privileges.
No. If yeah, I mean, if a conflict was to break out, we're going to be drafted. Possibly. A lot of people don't know that. Like back in the 20s, most women wasn't for getting the right to vote because they was going to have to. They thought they would have to register for the draft, and they didn't want to go to war. It was straight white males fighting for their right to vote, pretty
Yeah,
much.
exactly. Yeah, they don't know that now. They don't understand that. They want equality except for when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then they don't want it. Or like domestic violence and stuff. They want to be able to hit a guy, but if a guy hits him back, then the guy gets in trouble. The female doesn't. They don't really want equality. They say they do. And the whole transgender thing. Joe talks about this on his show. There was an MMA fighter that was a guy for 30 years, and he was in the military and everything. And then he decided to get a sex change and become a woman, and then become an MMA fighter. And he started the shit out of women. And people were like, you know, it's cool, he's a woman now. And Joe's like, no, like this is a guy beat the shit out of women. They asked Dana, they're like, why don't you sign this person to the UFC? He's like, because it's a man. You
Yeah.
know, shit out of women. It's not a real fighter. You know, it's if you put any guy, you or I, if we just trained for a little bit, we could destroy any women in the UFC.
Yeah. So like, we'll just give him the belt right now, or her. Sorry.
Yeah. Thing I don't. That's it's like I don't care if you want to cut off your dick. That's your business. But you are not going to force me to call you a woman.
Right.
You cannot force me to ignore science just because you want to cut off your genitals. It's
Yeah.
not how
Yeah.
it's not
If you
call you.
look like Hulk Hogan, it's gonna be hard to forget that.
Right. The GameStop guy.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of when I said that.
Yeah, it's ma'am. It's like good lord.
I'll take you outside. I'll show you, sir.
Right. Yeah, that reminds. There was a Ben Shapiro clip. It's on the internet on YouTube. You can find where he has like his panel, and they set this guy who's like a man converted to a woman. He's ex-military, big old buff dude, and they set Ben Shapiro beside him, and they're like, talking about how Caitlyn Jenner was courage, had all this courage, and was brave, and all this, and Ben's like, why are we mainstreaming delusion? And that transgender guy grabs him. He's like, you'll go home. Say something like that.
I had to go get a cigarette. Yeah, it's like that. This was a few years ago when that kid, he was in high school, was saying he was a woman and he won state and track in Texas, I think. But like the time that he won with, if he would have run with the men, he would have placed dead last.
Yeah. That gives you an advantage. It's just men and women aren't the same. I keep saying that, but they're not, obviously. Men are built different. Oh yeah, did you see my shirt?
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
Back-to-back World War champs. I got it down in Gatlinburg, one of those souvenir T-shirt shops back this summer.
That's pretty great.
Thought it was pretty cool. They had several different ones. Yeah, man. I think we're gonna wrap it up, man, because we've probably been going for like 2 hours. I
Yeah.
think we've covered a lot of ground, though. We talked about a
Yeah,
lot of stuff.
definitely. I was just watching my daughter run back and forth. It's amazing she has that much energy.
Yeah, they're wild, man. They grow up fast, though. Hell, time flies, man. It seems like
Yeah.
this way that long since we got out of school.
I know. There's, it is. It's crazy to think 10 years ago was 2009.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
All right,
We'll
I'll
see you.
holler at
Bye.
you. Yeah, I'll have you back on. All right, man.